perspective of downing other groups. I'm just talking from a perspective where when you look at these political parties, we have to focus more so on what they can give to us. And if they can't give anything to us, then they're just going to say that they're giving all this stuff to all these other people. Then my thing is like, we're not a part of the political conversation at that point. And that's all I'm saying. In terms of people going and doing for self, I want Africans to do for self. I want Black Americans. I want Caribbeans. I want everybody to do for self. What I want to see more from Africans is a more education on their culture, on their history, on where they're from. That's what I would like to see more from Africans. Africans know a lot about our culture. They've assumed a lot of Black media.
I know, fam. Even though, not to cut you, we tend to go down that route versus just sticking to table talk. What do you bring to the table? What do men do after they finish table talk? They go to their family. I don't have nothing to talk. I'm talking about transmissions, car parts, buildings. You see what I'm saying? If we stick to table talk about business, all of the extra stuff goes out the way. Everybody knows
it goes away.
A better job. Black people around the world need to focus on spreading their history and connecting and focus on business. These are standards that every single competent adult knows. But us bringing stuff to the table, your family's charter school, the stuff that you're doing, that is what every Pan-African and Black nationalist, everybody wants to hear about. That your history gets caught up in the conversations about nothing versus highlighting your grandfather's accomplishments, versus highlighting your political astuteness, versus highlighting your degrees. That's the focus. And I hear Pan-Africans get caught up in everything else but saying this is the priority in the conversation. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and that's my priority. My thing is I want everyone to become more educated. I mostly focus on younger generation, people between the ages of 22 to 40. And, I want to get people, like what I see a lot in the community is when you're pushing people to strive, they think that they're too old to like do better for themselves. And it's crazy because it's like anyone can get a corporate position. How you get in the corporate? You don't need a degree. All you need is to become an administrative assistant. And then when you become an administrative assistant, you're there in the corporate world for like a year, and then you can transfer to a department and specialize by learning from the people in the department. Now you're a financial manager because you went from admin assistant, which all you need to do is know how to use Excel, Microsoft Word, and Outlook and email. That's all you need to know how to do. If you and you write letters for people, shit, Chat GPT that shit. You can just have Chat GPT build out everything for you. And that's the thing. They want to, like, when you have your sales experience from running the cashier, that's just the first step. You get that when you're a teen, and then after that, you move to that admin position. That's all you need is that cashier experience. That little experience there can open the doors 5 years down the road to $100,000 job. You can become a project manager. And the thing is, you just have to focus on getting those goals. So you have to go in your mind and say, hey, what can I be good at? And if you don't see yourself being good at anything because you didn't do well in school, because you didn't learn the basic math and you didn't learn the basic history and the knowledge in order to learn how to connect and discern information, then you're going to be stuck and you're never going to be progressing. And that's my goal. I just want everyone to progress in a way. And a lot of people in the conversations, I don't know if they're showing that type of progression in their daily life, whether it be with their own businesses. I know a lot of people have their own businesses and they don't advocate for working for other companies, but shit, that's how our ancestors got their money. That's how Black Wall Street was made. We had the skills and we went and worked for white people. And then when we worked for white people, we brought the money back to our community, and then it circulated in our community. That's what every other community is.
How often do you get to discuss this on Pan-African panels?
I normally don't go on any panels.
How often have you heard a similar conversation discussed on FBA panels?
So when you say Pan-African, I'm just assuming Black panels in general. But when on Black panels in general, I don't think I've heard any of those conversations. Like I've been to conversations.
I'm going to say this is that I you know what, and I'm going to say this. I'm Pan-African. I'm an FBA, but I'm Pan-African, and this is my panel. So
yeah. Well, I'm FBA and I'm Pan-African, but not at the dismissal of whatever issues we're going through. Like That's my thing. Like in terms of advocacy, there's really nothing black like everyone's saying we can build bridges and we can do that. Yes, we could do that, and there's a demand for it, but the demand isn't so high that like the vast majority of Black Americans can participate in that. That's not where we fix ourselves is trying to get the economy better. And then where Africans fix themselves is generating businesses in Africa. So whatever knowledge you learn from America, you take that over to Africa because like people are saying like, oh
again, hold on, before you do it again, we
yeah,
have a tendency of giving unrequested advice. And I
right,
recognize this. Listen to how much we do that. Africans should do this. If they're an African
yeah,
who
but the same thing
come to
happens.
America and they're paying taxes in America, they're an American by taxes. You know what I'm saying? If they're like, and then when they start doing the same thing, Black Americans need to do this. Everybody needs to just stop giving
Right. So
unsolicited
here's
advice.
here's my thing. If
I'm
a
saying,
person
In a
isn't doing that,
different
then I'm
day and
going to
age,
judge their
brother.
moral character.
no, I'm
I'm
just
not
saying
going to see them as an
the
African.
unsolicited advice is if you just listen to the conversations, how often both sides do it. My bad. I was just jumping in the comment because I was like, yo, there's some dope people in the chat, and we spend a lot of time focusing on everything but the dope people. Like, you're really dope at what you're saying, bro. Like, don't even worry about that. Just keep being dope. You know what I'm saying? And people are gonna want to work with you. You're gonna have Africans that want to work with you, Jamaicans, Caribbeans, people from around the country because you're dope.
How come they don't want to work hard in their own countries?
You see what he's talking about? Again, he has not brought nothing a discussion to the table. This is why he keeps going. If we keep the table talk conversation, how do we increase the economic space for Black Americans? You gave us an answer for that. If you're
We got to look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We got to see where the projected demand for the different jobs are, and then we got to promote those jobs in our communities. For the members of our community who are like distracted and they're unable to like obtain higher education or do things like that, they're gonna have to become electricians and like there's programs in every state where like if you don't have any skills or anything, you can just go become an electrician apprentice, and after 5 years you can just start up your own electrician company, and then now you have a company where you're bringing in apprentices, you're all a part of the union, and now you're increasing the amount of Black electricians within the area.
Yo, are you familiar real quick with NASER?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I just got linked with this organization. It's the National Center for Construction Education and Research. They do low cost training as well. There's another organization I just got put on to low cost training for 18 to 24-year-olds, and they get pulled straight into the unions. Really powerful, really impactful.
But the thing people need to be aware of is the education level of Black Americans right now isn't as impressive as we think it is in terms of per capita. Like a lot of Black Americans, they go to school, they fell out. A lot of us, and it has nothing to do with like culture or anything. It just has to do with like our support systems. We don't have the support systems in place because we're competing.
You mean America, the United States?
No. He means in America, Black Americans have systematically been kept from resources from white people. It's been well documented that white people allocate resources away from Black people, not Jamaicans, not Caribbeans, white people. And they also change their districts to make sure the allocation of funds does not go to Black people. That is historically a fact around the country. And that is
and I have a question. Is that allocation given to inappropriately given to Africans or Caribbeans?
No,
they take it from Black
and
people?
the reason why I say that is because they don't want to delineate the data.
Why is FBA trying to pretend that all these different things are getting taken from them and given to the Caribbeans?
Okay, so like
this exists.
Okay, so I'm not saying that, and I thought we're doing table talk.
Are you FBA?
Yes, I'm 100%.
So when Trump
FBA. My
bombs
grandfather
Nigeria,
was a
don't say
singer,
nothing no more.
FBA.
Here's my question. Because the whole argument of FBA movement is that all the resources are being taken from the Black American, the foundational Blacks, and given.
Well, yeah, that's what happened. So what happened was.
Okay, why are you interrupting? I'm not done.
Okay. Well, okay. Well,
okay. So I'm trying to understand why there's this narrative, and there's so many programs that are given out throughout the United States. that the FBA have no, maybe not the FBA, the Caribbeans have no access to because they're not American citizens. They might not have a business structure. They have to like actually go and get a business, whatever, da da da, to get those things. Why is this the narrative that all of the resources or the majority of resources that we think are for us, right? They us, whenever Tariq is talking, well, these things are for us, but they get it for them, and so why is it that we have this narrative when everything I'm hearing Q talk about, they're not necessarily open, open all the way wide for people of other cultures to come in and take advantage of, mainly American citizens, but we're given this narrative that these things are
So
open
I
wide and they're more able to get these resources than we are as Black Americans.
So I can explain this to you, and it's really pretty simple. When the Civil Rights Bill was passed, that would have made, if the Civil Rights Bill was passed and they didn't allow any other groups into the country, the Black American economy would be way better today than it would have been if we did bring those groups. The reason why is because after they gave us our civil rights, they applied them not only to us, but they applied them to a bunch of other people who were just coming into the country who were already being backed by like other countries. Your average, like when the civil rights started, your average African immigrant, and I don't want to just single out African immigrants, but your average immigrant in general was around the age of 45. So a lot of them, they either were like single, didn't have kids, or they did have a family at the time, and they came over here because they had vast skill sets. So like, I just want to point out when it comes to the history of African American or Africans in America, a lot of them like I don't want to like say that they came from like these families where they came over here with $2 because that's not the case. And we should educate people on like how they were able to come over here. They came over here, a lot of them came over here
So
with
hold
money.
on, how much of those? See, I think that what happens is that we are compounding a situation and blaming a group of
Yeah,
people.
we are
And there
compounding.
was an entire thing called urban renewal. There was an entire time where there was black cities like Detroit, like a Black Bottom in Detroit. There were different cities throughout the United States that had highways after the civil rights movement was done. They put entire highways through these communities that were thriving Black communities. We cannot blame the Caribbean people
No, we're
that
not
came.
blaming them. You
No,
asked
no,
a
no. What
question.
I'm trying to
Can I jump in there too, sis?
no. What I'm trying to explain to you is that you cannot blame a group of people when there was all these different things, aspects of why we ended up in a situation.
Yeah,
There was entire cities removed because they were putting highways called urban renewal.
yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. You
So
can't
you
blame
want
the
to just skate past urban renewal and go straight to that there was like people from Jamaica that came into New York or whatever they came to.
Yeah, we're gonna skip
Took
right
all the
past
money
to,
and everything.
we're
Can you
gonna head to right to
can you source
1983.
that? Is it
1983. Can I tell you what happened in
no,
1983?
before you tell us that, can you source your point that you said? Where did you get that data
After
from?
the peak of the civil rights movement, the destruction of black communities was less often the result of large-scale white mob violence, which was more common in the early 20th century, and more frequently consequence of systematic policies like urban renewal and corporate expansion. All right? The 1960s and beyond saw historically black neighborhoods raised for development projects, often displacing thousands of families and businesses. This was done under the guise of improving living standards, but disproportionately harmed black communities. So, which one did the worst?
I mean,
Moving
does it
from
matter? They both were
the
as bad.
neighborhoods or the Caribbean community?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that immigrants? How does America make money? Can we all agree on that? What is the main revenue?
Through labor.
I just want to be clear. What's the revenue for the brother that said American immigration? I want to be clear. What
I
is
would say the main revenue is our ties with other countries. Essentially, we establish economic relationships with other countries where we force them to give us a monopoly stake in their market. allowing us to trade in
We're
dollars.
indebted to other
Okay, all right.
countries.
So have
Our
you?
whole
All right.
thing
So
is based
according to
on
the
labor.
federal government, the primary source of income is tax revenue for America. That's why I'm kind of confused. America is an immigration-based colonial system. It has always made money off of immigrants. That's why I'm kind of confused. America funds itself through immigration, a lot of money through immigrant taxes. So I just want to be clear. So like, and black people benefit from the taxes collected from immigrants. So I'm trying to see like, do black people benefit less from taxes collected, or because you said that and did you source that from somewhere that said that immigration is the direct result to black people's? Yeah, I just
So
want to
no
know.
one said anything about immigration being the direct result to black people anything.
No, I'm saying, is there a correlation? I just want to know, did you read that somewhere that there was a correlation?
So there is an overrepresentation of immigrants in government programs like affirmative action.
Thank you.
So like, let's say if you go to a PWI, which is a white school, if you are black and then immigrant, then you get more points in terms of the affirmative action quota than a person who is just black.
But even an affirmative action was created and started because white people did not want to allow black Americans ability to compete for contracts. And 30 years later, black people are still struggling with competing with white people for government contracts. And now the federal government with Trump has even cut down even more black people's federal, and it's not, so the white people are telling black